All right, so today we're going deep into the world of naturopathic medicine.
Ooh, exciting.
You sent over this excerpt from A Hierarchy of Healing,
Right.
and, well, it got me thinking.
Yeah.
What's the deal with this whole nature-based approach?
I like that.
Is it just, herbs and crystals and things?
Okay, yeah.
Or is there something more to it?
Let me tell you, it's definitely not just swapping out your pills for some chamomile tea.
Okay.
This excerpt digs into what's called the therapeutic order, which is basically this hierarchy of healing practices
Okay.
that look at the whole picture of your health.
I'm intrigued.
Good.
Now, you know our listeners, right?
Of course.
They love efficient learning, so
Yeah.
whether they're prepping to see a naturopath, maybe exploring alternative approaches, or just curious about what this nature-based thing really means.
Yeah.
This deep dive is going to give them a solid foundation.
Totally.
But before we get to, all the details of the therapeutic order,
Yeah.
let's rewind a little bit. The excerpt mentioned that naturopathy had, a wild ride here in the U.S.
It did.
It was super popular, then practically vanished, and then it
Right.
came back. What's up with that?
Well, it's quite a story.
Okay.
Naturopathy peaked back in the 1940s.
Correct.
But then the antibiotic era hit.
Huge.
Yeah, total game changer.
Yeah.
And, conventional medicine, it really took center stage.
Yeah.
And naturopathy at the time was still struggling to, define itself
Right.
amidst some internal debates.
Interesting.
And it got kind of pushed aside for not being, quote, scientific enough.
So the underdog
Yeah,
gets overshadowed by the flashy new kid on the block.
exactly.
Then there's this huge comeback.
Mm-hmm.
And the excerpt pointed to chronic illness
Yeah.
and environmentalism as these key factors.
Right.
It sounds like people started craving something more
Yes.
than just dealing with symptoms.
Totally.
Oh, no.
By the late 60s, early 70s, people were starting to see the limitations
Yeah.
of that, purely scientific approach, that
Yeah.
quick fix approach
Yeah.
for chronic diseases, unlike those infections that antibiotics could handle so well.
Right.
Didn't really respond to this, magic bullet approach.
Makes sense.
Right. And plus, at the same time,
Yeah.
awareness of environmental issues was growing.
Oh, but
Think, Rachel Carson's book, Silent Spring.
yeah.
People started making the connection
Right.
between their own health and the planet's health.
So out of the ashes rises naturopathy like a phoenix.
Exactly.
But it seems like it's not about rejecting conventional medicine now.
Right.
It's about seeing where it falls short
Yeah,
and offering something more holistic, would you say?
absolutely. And I think a lot of that something more comes down to the core principles of naturopathy.
Okay, I'm on board with this restore health idea,
Yeah.
but how does that really play out,
Okay, sure.
What does a naturopath do that's different than, say, a regular doctor?
Well, let's contrast it with, the conventional model. Okay.
Diagnose and treat the disease, right?
Yeah.
Naturopathy takes a step back
Okay.
and looks at the whole person, their lifestyle, their environment, their emotional and spiritual well-being.
Mm-hmm.
It sees disease as process, meaning the body isn't just invaded by something to be eliminated,
Right.
but it's constantly responding to, disturbances.
So it's about understanding all those individual factors,
Exactly.
the terrain, if you will,
Yes, great way to put it.
that influences how your body reacts.
Precisely.
So, if I get a cold, it's not just about the virus.
Right.
It's about how my whole system is dealing with it.
Exactly.
Which might explain why some people just get knocked down by a sniffle and others are totally fine.
It's not just about the bug itself.
Yeah.
It's about that inner environment.
It's about you.
You got it.
Okay, so this brings us to one of naturopathy's guiding principles.
Okay.
Vis Medicatrix Naturae.
Ooh, I love that one.
Latin! Gotta love a good Latin phrase.
Always.
But break it down for us.
Sure. What does that fancy term really mean?
It means the healing power of nature.
Okay.
Your body has this incredible inner doctor, always working to keep things in balance
Right.
and to heal any damage, right?
Yeah.
Naturopathy is about supporting that inner doctor,
Okay.
not just suppressing those symptoms.
So it's not just passively waiting for nature to do its thing.
No.
It's actively working with your body's natural healing processes.
Exactly. It's think about a simple cut, right?
Go ahead.
Conventional medicine might clean it and slap on a bandage.
Yeah.
A naturopath would also consider your overall health.
Interesting.
Your diet, your stress levels, your sleep,
Right.
because all those things impact how your body repairs that cut.
So you're seeing the cut as part of the whole system. not
Yes.
just an isolated event.
Exactly.
That's cool. It's not about ignoring those conventional treatments.
Right.
It's about taking a more holistic approach.
That's it.
And this is where that therapeutic order we talked about comes in. It's like a roadmap for restoring health.
Love it.
Starting with the foundations.
You got it.
Speaking of foundations, the excerpt breaks this down into 7 levels.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the top 3,
Okay.
since those seem to be where naturopathy really shines.
Yeah.
The first one, establish the conditions for health.
Okay.
Sounds pretty basic,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm guessing it's more than just eat your veggies.
Okay, go down. It's much deeper than that.
Okay, good.
It's about identifying and removing obstacles to cure.
Interesting.
Think of it as creating the ideal environment for your body to thrive.
I like that.
So we're talking about those determinants of health,
Right.
diet, stress, spiritual well-being,
Mm-hmm.
all of it, And these are often the things that conventional healthcare overlooks.
So true. Of all those factors, which one do you find is most often overlooked?
It's fascinating. It often comes down to toxemia.
Toxemia.
That buildup of waste and toxins in the body.
Like your body's garbage disposal is clogged.
Exactly. And conventional medicine rarely addresses this directly,
Yeah.
but it can have a huge impact on your health.
I've heard that this buildup of toxins could even be a factor in those stubborn headaches so many of our listeners deal with.
Interesting.
I'll have to explore that in a future deep dive for sure. Okay, so we've removed the obstacles to cure.
All right.
What's next?
So level 2 is all about stimulating those self-healing mechanisms.
Okay.
It's bringing in therapies that help nudge your body's natural healing systems into action.
It's like giving your body a high five and saying, you got this.
I love that.
Right. It's not just stopping the bad.
Yeah,
It's actively promoting the good.
exactly.
So what's like a surprising way someone could tap into that Vis Medicatrix Naturae?
You might be surprised to hear that laughter is actually a really powerful tool.
Aha.
It reduces stress, it boosts the immune system, and it releases endorphins.
It's true. Laughter eye is the best medicine.
It really is.
All right. Level 3, support weakened or damaged systems. This is where herbs and supplements come in, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
This is where we might use more targeted therapies
Mm-hmm.
to give specific organs a boost.
Okay.
So think herbal medicine, nutritional supplements, or even specific exercises.
All right. Right.
It's all about giving those systems that might need a little extra TLC a helping hand.
Makes sense. So even if someone's doing all the right things,
Mm-hmm.
eating well, managing stress, laughing a lot,
Yeah,
there might still be times when their body needs extra support.
absolutely.
Will you give us an example?
Sure, imagine someone recovering from a serious illness or surgery.
Okay.
Even with great lifestyle choices, their body might need more help to rebuild and recover.
Right.
And that's where those targeted therapies, like supplements or herbs, can be so valuable.
That's a really good point.
Yeah.
It shows how this isn't a one-size-fits-all approach.
Right.
It's tailoring the treatment to the individual.
Precisely.
But even within naturopathy, there are different schools of thought.
Yeah.
The excerpt mentioned a greenolopathy debate.
Mm-hmm.
What's that about?
That's a great question, and it gets at some of the nuances within naturopathy.
Okay.
It basically describes this tension between different approaches.
Interesting.
Some naturopaths focus more on treating symptoms directly,
Okay.
using those natural remedies, almost like natural drugs,
Right.
while others stick more closely to that holistic therapeutic order approach
Right.
that we've been talking about.
So how do you navigate this in your practice?
Yeah, it's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
Of course, in emergency situations, immediate intervention is key.
Of course.
But for most chronic conditions, I really believe in addressing the root cause first.
Okay.
However, sometimes using specific natural remedies to manage symptoms can be really helpful, especially while we're working on those foundational levels.
Yeah.
It's all about finding the right approach for that individual and their circumstances.
It seems like finding a practitioner who aligns with your personal philosophy is key.
Absolutely. Naturopathy is about individualized care.
Yeah.
And that might even mean sometimes integrating conventional approaches too.
Okay.
Which brings us to level 6. Address pathology. Use specific pharmacologic or synthetic substances.
So we're acknowledging that there are times when conventional medicine might be needed.
Exactly.
Not an us versus them
No,
situation.
not at all.
Okay, good.
Naturopathic doctors are trained to recognize when conventional interventions might be life-saving
Right.
or crucial for managing a specific condition. They might even refer patients to specialists
Right.
or prescribe certain pharmaceuticals depending on their licensing and the situation.
So it sounds like a truly integrative approach.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
To draw on the best of both worlds.
Right.
To provide the best possible care.
But it's important to note that even when those conventional treatments are used,
Yes.
a naturopathic doctor is still focused on minimizing side effects
Absolutely.
and supporting the body's natural healing process.
Huh.
So it's not just handing someone a prescription and saying, see you later.
No.
That's about that holistic care,
Yes.
even within a conventional context.
Exactly.
This is great. Now, this brings us to the final level.
Okay.
Level 7,
Yeah.
suppress pathology.
Right.
This sounds a little intense.
Uh-huh.
Are we talking drastic measures here?
Not necessarily. It's
Okay.
more about recognizing that sometimes suppressing a symptom or process might be necessary to prevent further harm
Right.
or to stabilize a critical situation.
So like if someone's having a severe allergic reaction, you wouldn't hesitate to use an antihistamine,
Exactly.
even though that's a suppressive measure.
Right. It's about using the right tool for the job. And sometimes that might mean temporary suppression.
Okay.
But here's the key difference. A naturopathic doctor would always aim to address the underlying cause.
Right. So in that allergy example,
Yes.
you'd figure out what triggered it and try to reduce their sensitivity to it. You wouldn't just manage the symptoms with meds.
That's right.
It's about that short-term intervention,
Yes.
but with a long-term vision of getting to the root of the problem.
Precisely. The goal is always to empower the body to heal itself.
I love that. This
Yeah.
therapeutic order is amazing.
It is.
It's truly a roadmap for a different way of thinking about health and healing.
Totally.
But I'm curious,
Yeah.
what happens when even this approach isn't enough?
Interesting.
Are there situations where naturopathy just reaches its limits?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it leads us into some of the nuances and challenges
Okay.
that even naturopathic medicine faces.
Right.
We're going to explore that in the next part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors.
See you soon. Welcome back to our deep dive into naturopathic medicine.
All right, so we've laid the groundwork,
Right.
establishing those healthy habits, stimulating that natural healing power,
Yeah.
supporting any systems that need a little extra love.
It's all about that foundation.
It is. But now we're venturing into what feels more like, actual treatment, right?
Okay.
Level 4 of the therapeutic order, correcting structural integrity.
Yes, exactly.
So I'm thinking bones, muscles, alignment.
You got it.
Am I on the right track?
You are, but here's the thing.
Yep.
Naturopathy takes it a step further.
Okay.
It recognizes that those aches and pains, those structural issues, they often come from deeper imbalances.
So it's not just about like cracking a back or getting a massage.
Right.
It's about understanding why that misalignment or that tension is happening.
Precisely. Remember that concept of disease as process we talked about?
Yeah.
It applies here too.
Okay.
The excerpt even gave this example of like mid-back problems being linked to stress on the digestive organs.
Wait, so my back pain could be coming from my gut?
It's definitely possible.
Not just from, slouching at my desk all day.
It could be a factor, but
Right.
this is where the therapeutic order is so helpful.
It guides us to address those deeper imbalances first.
So by the time you get to level 4, those corrections are more effective.
Exactly.
And they last longer.
Because you're addressing the root cause.
Right. Not just putting a Band-Aid on the symptoms.
Exactly.
Okay. This is making so much sense.
Right.
So what kind of therapies fall under this correcting structural integrity level?
Well, you've got your classic chiropractic adjustments.
Yeah.
But also massage therapy, osteopathy,
Okay.
even certain types of exercise like yoga or Pilates.
Interesting.
It's all about restoring that balance and function to your musculoskeletal system.
It's funny. I used to think of those things as separate from real medicine.
Yeah, I get it.
But now I see how interconnected everything is.
Right.
You can't just treat one part of the body without considering the whole thing.
That's the beauty of naturopathy.
It is.
It's seeing the body as this intricate web
Yeah.
where everything is connected.
Okay, so level 5 is where we really delve into the naturopathic toolbox. All right, let's do it.
Address pathology. use specific natural substances, modalities, or interventions.
This is where things get exciting.
Okay, what does that look like in practice?
This is where we might use botanical medicines,
But,
herbs, tinctures, essential oils to target specific symptoms
okay,
or support different organ systems.
you're actually treating specific conditions?
Exactly. We might also use homeopathy,
Ooh.
which
wow.
uses highly diluted substances to
Yeah.
stimulate the body's own healing response.
I've always been curious about homeopathy.
It's a fascinating system,
Yeah.
and it can be really effective, especially when combined with those foundational levels we talked about.
So even at this level, you're still prioritizing those natural approaches
Yes,
over pharmaceuticals.
exactly. Which brings us back to that green allopathy debate.
Right, that tension between using those remedies as natural drugs versus that whole holistic approach.
It's about finding that practitioner who aligns with your own philosophy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Now, level 6. Address pathology. Use specific pharmacologic or synthetic substances.
So here we're acknowledging that sometimes
Yeah.
conventional medicine is necessary.
Right. It's not about us versus them.
It's about what's best for the patient.
Exactly. Naturopathic doctors are trained to know when those conventional interventions might be life-saving
Right.
or crucial for a certain condition.
They might even refer patients to specialists.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Or prescribed pharmaceuticals themselves, depending on their licensing and the situation.
so it's truly an integrative approach.
That's the goal.
Yeah, drawing on the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
But even when conventional treatments are used,
Mm-hmm.
a naturopathic doctor is still focused on minimizing side effects
Yes.
and supporting those natural healing processes.
Always.
So it's not just handing them a prescription and saying, see ya.
No.
It's about providing that holistic care.
Yes, even within that conventional context.
Okay, I like that. Now, this brings us to the final level, level 7,
Right.
suppress pathology.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay, this sounds a little intense.
I know, right?
Are we talking about drastic measures here?
Not necessarily. It's
Okay.
more about recognizing that sometimes
Yes.
suppressing a symptom
Okay.
or a process
Mm-hmm.
might be necessary to prevent further harm
Right.
or stabilize a situation.
So, like, if someone's have that allergic reaction,
Exactly.
you wouldn't hesitate to use an antihistamine.
Right. It's about using the right tool for the job.
Right.
And in some cases,
Mhm.
that might mean temporary suppression.
Okay.
But the key difference is
Right.
a naturopathic doctor would still aim to address that underlying cause.
So figure out what's triggering the allergy
Mm-hmm.
and try to reduce the body's sensitivity to it,
Exactly.
not just manage the symptoms with meds.
Right. It's about short-term intervention, but with that long-term vision of restoring balance.
Right, getting to the root of it.
Exactly. The goal is always to empower the body to heal itself.
This therapeutic order is just, it's amazing.
It is pretty cool.
It really is a roadmap for a different way of thinking about health and healing.
Yeah, I agree.
But I'm curious, what happens when even this comprehensive approach just isn't enough?
Mm-hmm.
Are there times when naturopathy reaches its limits?
That's a great question, and it brings us into some of the nuances and challenges that even naturopathic medicine faces.
Right.
We'll explore that in the final part of our deep dive.
Can't wait. We'll be right back after a quick word from our sponsors. Welcome back to our deep dive.
Back for the final part.
We've covered so much ground,
We have
history, principles, that therapeutic order.
really highlights a different way of thinking about health.
It does. But I'm
Mhm.
curious, what happens when
Yeah.
even this holistic approach, comprehensive approach,
Right.
isn't enough?
Good question.
Are there situations where naturopathy reaches its limits?
That's a really important question. Because even with the focus on the body's own healing abilities, there are limits to what any healthcare system can do,
Right.
including naturopathy.
So are we talking about those conditions that just don't respond well to those natural therapies?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Think about acute life-threatening situations
Sure.
like a heart attack
Mhm.
or a stroke.
Right.
Those often need immediate conventional intervention
Yeah.
that might be outside the scope of typical naturopathic practice.
You wouldn't want to be messing around with herbs and tinctures
No.
when someone needs emergency care.
Exactly.
Right.
And then there are those chronic
Yeah.
degenerative diseases that even with the best naturopathic care
Yeah.
might not be fully reversible.
Right.
In those cases, the focus kind of shifts
Okay.
to managing symptoms,
Okay.
slowing progression,
Right.
and improving their quality of life.
So making them as comfortable
Yeah.
and healthy as possible,
Exactly.
even if cure isn't really possible.
Right, because naturopathy can offer a lot
Yeah.
in terms of supporting those natural defenses,
Mhm.
reducing pain and inflammation,
Right.
improving their well-being.
It's about working with the body, not against it.
I like that, yeah.
That's a good message of hope.
Yeah,
Even in those situations where conventional medicine might not have all the answers.
absolutely. The human body is so complex,
It is.
and we still don't understand everything about health and disease.
And that's what makes this whole therapeutic order so interesting, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about claiming to have all the answers.
No.
It's about approaching health in a systematic way,
Right.
a holistic way.
Recognizing those layers.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, if we connect this to the bigger picture,
Mm-hmm.
it's really about empowering people
Yeah.
to take an active role in their own health.
Right.
Naturopathy gives them the tools and the knowledge to make those choices.
Exactly. And to work with their healthcare providers.
Yeah, it's a partnership.
Speaking of empowering,
Yeah.
you mentioned the excerpt talks about toxemia.
Right.
I know a lot of our listeners struggle with chronic issues like fatigue, brain fog, even skin problems.
Yeah, it's common.
Could addressing that imbalance of toxins be the key for them?
You know, it's a fascinating area.
Yeah.
Remember, toxemia is that buildup of waste and toxins.
Right, like your cells are drowning in garbage.
Exactly. And conventional medicine often overlooked this, but naturopathy has all these ways to support detoxification.
So it's not just about what we put in our bodies.
Yeah.
It's also about how well our bodies get rid of things.
It's all connected. Everything plays a role.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
You really journeyed through the history,
Yeah.
explored those core principles, unpacked that therapeutic order.
It's fascinating stuff.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's clear that naturopathy is not just about herbs and supplements.
Right.
It's a whole different way of thinking about health and healing.
A different perspective.
One that focuses on the body's own ability to heal itself.
Absolutely.
And it can be so empowering,
It is.
giving people the tools to take control of their health journey.
Totally.
So if this deep dive has sparked your curiosity,
Yeah.
remember, this is just the beginning.
A tip of the iceberg.
There's a whole world out there waiting.
Keep learning.
Keep asking questions, keep exploring, and most importantly, keep listening to your body.
It knows best.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Until next time, stay curious, stay healthy, and keep diving deep.